But 10-15 years ago, deals were plentiful. Anything that started out at $1 that no one else bid on, I raised my bidder number to claim. Anything that looked even remotely interesting, I raised my bidder number to claim. I lucked into a few good deals and some interesting games this way, but mostly I came home that first year with a lot of garbage. Most infamously was a game called Pirate King. The first edition of this game, published by Temple Games, came in a ridiculously giant box, which totally suckered me into paying more than I should have at the live auction for it. It's a roll and move game, which is a mechanic I'm actually happy to acknowledge has been done cleverly in games from time to time. But this was not one of those times. The whole objective of this game was to travel to various islands and earn points by accomplishing some very tedious tasks. But getting to the islands was an exercise in unceasing frustration, as the roll and move was further compounded by a very random wind dice that made even the direction of your movement uncertain. Oh man, did I loathe my one play of this game. Several years later, I managed to unload the game to some poor unsuspecting person at a local swap meet for $10. The person I sold it to told me, "Now, if you find yourself missing this game, don't hesitate to contact me and we'll get a play of it in together." I just smiled and nodded and thought to myself, that'll be the day. Now, interestingly, this game has a second edition, which supposedly fixes many of the problems of the first. And this is something that has held true for me throughout all of my board gaming experience. And if I have a really bad experience with the first edition of a game, and then a second edition comes out that supposedly makes it better, I just have no interest in playing that second edition, even if it is better, because I have such a negative impression of the game already from the first. So, kind of a bummer lesson, but an important one. One that made me think a little harder about what games I added to my collection. But it would take another lesson for me to refine my picks even more. That lesson would be to do some research first. The moral of a tragic story I will relate next week. Well, that will do it for episode 5. Thanks for joining me. Feel free to join the Out of the Dust podcast guild at BoardGameGeek.com. Follow the podcast on Twitter at OutOfTheDustBGG. Leave a comment at the guild. PM me on BGG under user handle Radagast14. Or email me at radagast14@CenturyLink.net. And join the Out of the Dust conversation yourself at our monthly geek list at BGG. Alright, play me out, Ananda.